known as Tammy Klinger, joining you again today. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel, and today I'm creating this art journal page, which of course has lots of bright colours, and I've named it Lollipop Girl. So I guess that's named after the background, but it's actually came from the inspiration from this lollipop that a friend gave me, and it was sitting on my desk, and I just thought, oh, I love the colours and the movement in it, and that got me inspired. So I'll just go through what I've used today. So I'm using my larger size Art by Marlene Art Journal. I will link all the products in the comments. But yeah, so I'm using the artist size. So I've grabbed a page out of there, and then I'm using the mixed element stamp set. And then I've got a couple of masks. One's from Back to Nature and one's from Out of This World. I've also got the Rhinestones and the Golden Oldie collector's book, and then a whole heap of paints. So I've got black and white, and then I got out all the neon. I ended up getting all the neons out, so originally I didn't, but I do end up using them all. And then a few extras like Mermaid, Smurf, Kissy and Happy. And of course I've got my glue, and I do use some sticky quotes as well. So let's get started. So I'm flipping through my extra large book to find some inspiration, and I found this girl, and I already had thought about the lollipop, and she actually says Queen Lollipop on her and live a colourful life up her face. So she was just perfect. So I pulled her straight out, and I did grab a sort of mandala centre because I just wasn't sure exactly where I was going this. I knew I had the idea. So I popped that one out as well, and I've popped them to the side, and I'm just creating a large lollipop. Could be a mandala, whatever inspires you, but just basically large circles of colour in the background. So I'm using colours like Happy, which is a yellow. I've used Boom, which is a neon orange, Hot Pink, which is also like a neon coral, and that really bright pink is called Funky, and then the Mermaid is the aqua, and of course Punk is that gorgeous purple, and there's a little bit of glow in there, which is your neon green. So I'm actually not thinking too much at this stage, and I'm not worried about colour mixing because I know I'm going to layer this up a bit. So I'm just getting the paint down and trying to have a whole heap of different of those colours. The only colour I haven't used at this point is some of the darker ones, which is Kissy and Smurf. So they do come into it a bit later, but I'm basically working with your neons at this point, and Happy, because they're bright, and I knew they'd give me the background and the look I was going for. And because they're translucent, they can be layered up quite easily without causing a muddy look. So just finishing off that whole background area. Yeah, I'm just really picking colours based on making sure they're repeated throughout the circle. And I checked where I wanted my girl to go, and now I've come in with my Smurf, which is that beautiful deep blue. And I'm just adding a few circular lines here and there. Again, I'm not actually thinking too much about it. This page goes through quite a process. And I basically pulled these two colours out of her top. So she's got a navy or a bright blue stripy top with deep pink sleeves, so that's why I went for the Kissy, the deep pink, and the Smurf, which is the blue. So by putting them into the background, she won't look like she's, she will look like she's part of the whole art project. So I've just, basically did some lines, and now I'm kind of working out. I tried that mandala that I got out of the book, but decided against it, and I've actually used a stamp from the Advent calendar last year, which is like a half mandala. So I used the aqua ink, which was also in the Advent, and I stamped that and then repeated it underneath to create a circle. Now it didn't stamp perfectly, and I wasn't worried about that at all, because this is a bit of a hodgepodge of a page. So now I grab a couple of the elements from the mixed elements stamp set, and I selected a couple of the spotty ones and the X, like little kisses, and also a leaf as well. And what I'm doing is using the aqua ink and the pink ink. I'm actually just sort of trying to keep going with the line, the circular motion, the lines, but putting them sort of randomly around the page and repeating them 2 or 3 times so that it creates sort of a length of that same shape, if that makes sense. Okay, so now I decided to add more colour. So this is Mermaid paint, and doesn't it look divine on that yellow? But I'm just coming in and I'm using one of the flat brushes of Marlene's. May not be Marlene's, it's just a flat brush. But I'm basically loading the end of my brush and then just dabbing it, and you get those cute little lines. So I'm now coming in with Smurf, and I really love, I just love all those colours together. Don't they look beautiful? The Kissy at this stage is standing out a bit too much for me, so I will blend that in. I will continue to keep blending and adding to this as I go. So more of the lines. Oh, this is where I come in. I grab some of the Kissy and I put a little bit of white with it just to soften it a little bit, and then I'm sort of blending those lines outwards a bit and adding a few more lines, so you can see it starts to not look quite so just circles. I mean, it is still circly, but it's sort of coming together. So then I grabbed out one of the out of this world stencils, and what I love is Marlene's stencils are often in circular shapes, like because she uses lots of mandalas and florals, and so her stars were also in a circle shaped, so that made it really great to just sponge a little bit of them on here and there, just to give a bit more pattern and interest to the background. So I'm just using a makeup sponge to sponge some paint on to add those. Now it's really, really busy, and as you know, or if you watch my videos, I always explain that when I'm working with lots and lots of colour, I need to bring white and black back into the page just to give it, it sort of brightens it all up, but because they're neutral colours, it just helps to calm the crazy as well. So these are, this is just the lace paint, and I'm just doing a few little dots, which I love to do, and now I'm just doing some circular lines, and I want them to be messy. So this is where that lollipop or mandala really starts to come together. The only thing with using these, the pens, the paint straight out of the tube like a pen, is you do need to be a little bit patient and let it dry, and I'm not that patient. So occasionally you might smudge a little bit, but it is worth it if you let it dry properly. Okay, so I think a few more little, using some of the translucent paints just to join some of the blending a little bit more. And then I will, dry it off, and I will come in and let's add that girl onto the page. Sorry, the camera goes out of focus when I do my heat gun. Okay, so you can see she just kind of we don't want her to just look, she's like, I've cut, she's a cutout and she's sitting straight on the background. We want this to be one piece of art. So often to do that, I come in with white behind that image just to soften it all. And when I look back on it now that I've finished my piece, I actually wished I'd kept going with this and perhaps built up that white, but I didn't. I got frustrated and gave up and felt like it wasn't working. So for me, the next step is, if white doesn't work, let's go to black. So that's what I'm doing here. So I've grabbed another stencil from the Back to Nature, and it's called Flower Madness, and I've done that scary thing and kind of worked out where the girl goes, and then added black paint, which is pitch, in that area, so it will be a shadow around her. And then I come in with the stencil and I wipe off that paint through the stencil with a wet baby wipe, and then you're left with the remains. So once I'd done this, I actually felt like the floral that I had chosen was a bit too busy for that busy background. So I've come in with a little bit more black, and I am sort of trying to create areas of grunginess, just so it's not so perfect. Like I just wanted that sort of that floral stencil to not look so obvious. So just coming in with a few marks and things like that. Now, it's probably at this stage that I wished I'd stuck with the white, but sometimes you've just got to go with it. So what I'm doing here is bringing some colour back into some of those really black areas that I now don't like. So art journaling is all about layering, and if you don't love it yet, it is not finished. So just keep going. And so what I'm doing is just using the paint. I'm kind of just adding a little bit more of those circular sweepy arches in, just because I covered them up so much, and I don't want I want it to all look one piece. So yeah, so this bit takes a little while because I'm really not loving it, and I come back in with paint and just keep repeating until I'm a bit happier. So I'll let you watch for a little while, and I'll be back soon. Okay, so because I added the black and it's quite strong, I need black elsewhere in the page so it looks like it belongs. So I'm basically coming in with some black ink and doing a bit more of the stamping, and now I'm loading up a little brush and doing a few little mark makings. So at this point I've become happier with it. The colours are beautiful, as you can see in the background. I'm loving the colours. But yeah, I just need a little bit more black so she doesn't look like she's just in the corner. She's actually part of the piece. So I'm still fluffing around in that corner because I'm just not quite happy with it yet. Now I'm again using that black paint to add some circular swirls and some, I guess it makes it a bit artsy and a bit non-perfect. And that is really good at then hiding all those mixes of colours and things that you've got going on. Okay, so I decide enough's enough. I'm going to stick her down. So I use the sticky glue just to glue the girl down. And then I'm just using the black ink and a blending brush just to add black to the border to frame it. And now I'm just using some of the translucent neon paints to add a little bit more to the Lollipop Queen. So just deepening up and brightening up some of the colours that were in there that Marlene had put there already. And then I find that some stickers from the sticky quotes, and they actually come from two different parts of the sticky quotes. I think it said Queen of Quirk, so I cut off Queen of and then added a word of rainbow, and I thought, yep, she's the Queen of Rainbow, Queen Lollipop. And now I've come in with the rhinestones, and using the glue I'm just popping a rhinestone on the tip of each of her crown, her tiara, and then I'm adding some rhinestones sort of around the edge of her eyes, just as a bit more of an interest. And then I do come in and add some green rhinestones to the background. So I just use that glue and do a few dots, which is that's why it's great in that tube. And then I just place a rhinestone on each one, and I do sort of just an arching curve, and I do it in 3 spots because the rule of 3s, I always work with 3s. And I really love that the pops of rhinestones finish it all off and add a bit of bling. I think once I had finished filming and I came back and looked at it, I always walk away and then come back. I did add a couple more bright pink dots to her crown and as her necklace, and I had accidentally put some purple paint on her top where I didn't want to, so I brought that in by adding some stripes, so it looks like it's meant to be here. So I'll leave you with some close-ups so you can see some of the rhinestones and some of the mark making. But this one was a lot of fun. I hope it's inspired you to have a bit of fun with colour. Thanks for stopping by. See ya!